Hello everyone, welcome to EduTerrain and a warm good morning to you all. Hope you all had a great day. Yes, so what we are going to do today as part of the report section under this YouTube series, we'll be doing the State of the Global Climate 2023, the report that has been released very recently. And this particular report has broken all records, that is the climate indicators that this particular report looks into. They have broken all the records since the WMO, that is World Meteorological Organization, that has been preparing this report, and since the times, and also since the time that this organization and various other countries, they have been keeping a tab on the data associated with the climate. Okay, so it has broken all the records, going overboard, it should say, than what it should have been. The threshold levels it has, they have crossed, be it temperature, be it cold, be it glacier melting, be it snow cap melting. In any case, we'll discuss all in this report. Now, this particular report was supposed to be done in yesterday's session, but there was a lot of disturbance owing to some construction, so I didn't take that session yesterday, and today we are going to do the same one, that is a State of Global Climate Report 2023, and this would be important as part of your regular current affairs under important report section for phase 1, and this report is important for both your ESI, economic and social issues, and ARD current affairs under important reports for phase 1 and phase 2. Why ESI? Because wahan pe bhi climate change and all that, they're part of this environment, sustainability, development goals. So this also report, actually majority of the content that this report has taken is from that SDG report only, जो last year July में release हुआ था. Okay, so with this introduction, let me start today's session. The State of the Global Climate 2023 report, which is released by the World Meteorological Organization, which is the United Nations authoritative voice on the state and behavior of the Earth's atmosphere, its interaction with the land and oceans, the weather, the climate it produces and resulting distribution of water resources. It will look into all these meteorological aspects of the world. And weather is something where we'll look into day-to-day kind of, we say, how is the weather, what would be the weather today, whether it would be rainy, whether it would be sunny, like that, right? But when we talk about long term variables of this weather only, we say that what would be the climatic conditions of that particular place. It means we are aggregating the weather variables data like temperature, rain, precipitation. Actually, rain is also a form of precipitation only. So we look into it long term, that is 30 years or so. But when we talk about weather, it is very short term weather variables that we look into, like minimum temperature, maximum temperature, if it is precipitation excuse me, we'll talk about whether will it rain or will it snow or will sleet arrive or will it hail. So we'll focus on those kind of things on day-to-day basis. Now, headquarters of WMO is Geneva, Switzerland. It has 193 member states currently, and the current Secretary General of WMO is Professor Celeste Solo. Okay, now what is the significance of this report? Why this report is important? Why we are looking into this? It's not that कि बस exam के लिए पढ़ना है. We should also go through this report to understand where our climate stands, where we stand currently when it comes to the climatic conditions globally. It's not that हम यहाँ पे है तो वहाँ कहीं Pacific Ocean में जो हो रहा है that would not impact us. We have already facing that La Nina, El Nino, all these they occur in the Pacific Ocean, but still we are facing the brunt of that. We are facing that issues, whatever the climatic changes that is bringing in. So it is imperative that every one of us should know what is happening and what we can do in order to, in small ways only, that small things only will help us in a long way. For all that, this report is very important along with the examinations. Now, one thing, why this is important? The State of Global Climate Report has confirmed that the year 2023 broke every single climate indicator. Now, what are the climate indicators that this report highlighted? It is related to the greenhouse gases, surface temperatures, ocean heat and acidification, sea level rise, Antarctic and Arctic sea cover, glacier retreats. Okay, all these are the various indicators that this report looks into, and this is a provisional sort of report. Might be there would be change once they refine this, but there would not be a major change as the report has to say. Okay, so this you can consider it as final only, but still when if there is any change, definitely we'll look into it. But that would, data wise, no change, because they have all collected the data and they have presented. Maybe presentation or little bit more data might be added to this, that's it, because this is just a 53 or 54 page report currently. Okay, so first we'll look into all these climatic indicators one by one, and how what is their condition currently and how it is going to impact greenhouse gases. Now here this report focuses majorly on the concentration of three main greenhouse gases, and that is carbon dioxide, methane and nitrous oxide. Now this seems that for these gases have reached a record high observed levels in 2022, the latest year for which the consolidated global values are available, that is 1984 से 2022 का जो data है, based on that it seems that they have reached, the concentrations have reached the highest level. And real-time data from specific locations, yes, they have taken specific locations in US and various other countries, and those locations, these locations are such locations where there is no much human activity and there is no much industrial activity. Okay, but still when they saw that, when they tried to capture the data on greenhouse gases, the release, the presence of them in the atmosphere, and they have found that these three greenhouse gases continued to increase in 2023 as well. There was no much change that kuch kam hua hai, no, there is no respite. And globally average concentrations for carbon dioxide it was at 417.9 plus or minus 0.2 parts per million ppm, this much it was. Methane 1923, even higher than carbon dioxide, and that too parts per billion, here it is parts per billion, little bit less you can consider. Nitrous oxide 335.8 plus or minus 0.1 parts per billion. Now how does we understand this कि ये ज़्यादा है या कम है, that also they have highlighted. So these are the things. Carbon dioxide is 150% higher than the pre-industrial levels, that is 1750 में जो कार्बन डाइऑक्साइड का concentration होता था एटमॉस्फेयर में, from that if we compare the amount of carbon dioxide that is in the atmosphere, that which is in the atmosphere, it is 150% more. If we look at methane, it is 264% more. And if you look at the nitrous oxide, it is 124% more when compared to the pre-industrial, that is 1750 level. So you can understand the kind of concentration that these three greenhouse gases are currently. Greenhouse gases का क्या है? Now let बहुत simple explanation है. Now ये हमारा atmosphere है and this is our earth. Okay, right? In here we'll have all the greenhouse gases. When the sun rays fall on this, what happens? Actually earth is very cold. If there is no atmosphere and no greenhouse gases, the entire radiation that we have received, that would reflect back. Okay, now what happens is these greenhouse gases, they trap some of these solar energy, okay, which keeps this earth warm so that it makes earth a residable place. Okay, now what happened? Because of this increase in these greenhouse gases, that is carbon, this is actually this trapping of the solar energy by these greenhouse gases, this is called as greenhouse effect, which is actually inevitable and very important for the life to survive on the earth. Otherwise the earth's temperatures would have been very very cold, bilkul uninhabitable. Because of this effect, we are able to, there is a warmth in the atmosphere where we were able to survive. Now what happened? because of this increase in concentration of the greenhouse gases. Now these greenhouse gases are trapping more energy, leading to increase in temperatures, average temperatures, than they should have been. And this all is leading to global warming. And global warming again leading to various other effects like polar cap melting, या sea rise, sea acidification, कई सारे effects दिखा रहा है. So that's the reason the concentration of greenhouse gases in the atmosphere, it's very important for us to study. Now the global, when comes to temperature, greenhouse gases का हो गया है. Now let's have a quick look at temperature. Obviously greenhouse gases जब increase हो रहे हैं, the global mean near the surface temperature would all obviously increase, and that has increased. The global mean near surface temperatures in 2023 was 1.45 plus or minus. Why plus or minus? कभी कभी ऊपर नीचे हो सकता है. At the same time accurately हमें पता नहीं चलता है, because it's globe बहुत huge है, so they always have some correcting figures there. So here plus or minus 0.12 degrees centigrade above the 1850-1900 average. So 1850-1900 में जो temperature था, average temperature I'm not talking about. Here also there is lopsided. कई जगह पे बहुत ज़्यादा surface temperature increase हुआ है, and कई जगह पे it was less. So if we look at the average, 1850 to 1900 के बीच में जो भी average temperature था, उस टेम्परेचर के मुकाबले द टेम्परेचर हैज़ इंक्रीज्ड टू बाई 1.45 प्लस और माइनस 0.12 डिग्री सेंटीग्रेड. सो अगेन दो स्टूडेंट्स हु कांट अंडरस्टैंड हिंदी, see whatever the average that was recorded between 1850 and 1900, that is a temperature, the average increase in temperature over that temperatures was by 1.45 plus or minus 0.12 degree centigrade. And the report has already confirmed that 2023 was the warmest year in the 174-year observational record. So since the last 174 years we have the data in place related to the Earth's temperature, average temperature, and this 2023 was one of the, it's not one of the, it was the warmest year, clearly surpassing the previous joint warmest years, that was once in 2016 and once in 2020. And there 2020 में 1.27 था, over and above the average mean surface temperatures of 1850 to 1900, and in 2016 it was 1.29, and दोनों के ऊपर चला गया है by 1.45, this that is in 2023. And the 10-year average 2014 to 2023 global temperature is 1.2 plus or minus 0.12 डिग्री सेंटीग्रेड above the 1850-1900 एवरेज. ये तो हमने देख लिया सिर्फ 2023 का, हम लोग यहाँ बात करें. वी आर टॉकिंग अबाउट ओनली 2023 टेम्परेचर व्हेन कंपेयर टू द 1850 to 1900 एवरेज, राइट. बट हियर डेकेड में किस तरह से हुआ है? इन अ डेकेड दैट इज 2014 to 2023 इट वाज 1.2 plus or minus 0.12 degree centigrade, and this happens to be the warmest 10-year period on record. All these points are very very important. Only have highlighted the most important points that would be important for your examination. And record decade भी warmest decade था. Record monthly global near surface temperatures have been observed for the ocean as well, from April through to December, and starting slightly later the land from July through to November. When we talk about the ocean temperatures, record temperatures were recorded in ocean from April to December, and on the land from July to November. Okay, so these are the very high temperatures in simpler terms. And September 2023 surpassed the previous global record for September by a wide margin, 0.46 to 0.54 degree centigrade. मतलब इतना ज़्यादा था. September 2023 was one of the hottest months. Okay, so this was about the temperature, the average, mean average temperature and all that. Okay, moving on to the ocean part. Now in ocean there are various types like ocean heat content, ocean acidification. We'll discuss each one in detail. Now ocean heat content. This also has reached its highest level in 65-year observational record. जैसे Earth's temperature we have been recording that since 170 plus years. Similarly, ocean heat content, that is temperatures of the ocean, were being recorded since the last 65 years. So in that 65 years observational record, 2023 was the had the highest ocean heat content. And the southern ocean domain, where various seas and oceans falls in the southern global domain, it is the largest reservoir of heat, accounting for around 32% of the global ocean heat content increase in the upper 2000 since 1958. Okay, and the Atlantic Ocean accounts for approximately 31% of the global 0 to 2000 मीटर्स जो हाइट है, ये 2000 मीटर्स जो जैसे ओशन है 2000 मीटर्स हाइट तक, मतलब इतने डेप्थ तक, दिस वाज अ टेम्परेचर दैट हैज़ अकाउंटेड फॉर. अगर 0 to 2000 meters ocean heat increased, it was 31% of the global whatever the heat that has been absorbed, and the Pacific Ocean was around 26%. That much it has absorbed. Now, when we talk about ocean, not only temperatures, mean sea level in 2023, the global mean sea level reached a record high in the satellite record since 1993, whatever the data that has been captured through satellites. If you look at again, the global mean sea level has also reached record है. Obviously, जब temperatures increased है, global warming है, the glaciers are melting, the snow caps are melting, where would that water go? All that would come at the end of the day into the seas and the ocean. So that has happened. And this, due to ocean warming as well as the melting of glaciers and ice sheets, this record high global mean sea level was noted. And the rate of global mean sea level rise in the past 10 years is more than twice the rate of the sea level rise in the first decade of the satellite record. See, earlier only I have told you that हम लोग जो global mean sea level which is being recorded through satellites वो 1993 से कर रहे हैं, right? So अगर 1993 से 2002 तक whatever the sea level that increase that was noticed, that has doubled from 2014 to 2023. So obviously this is the one of hottest decade, right? This is the hottest decade. That hottest decade जो हमने पहले डिस्कस किया था, that has led to this increase in the pace of rising of sea level. The long-term rate of sea level has increased, rise has more than doubled since the start of the satellite record, which we have already seen here. Increasing from, कितना increase हुआ है वो भी तो important है. The figure, it has increased from 2.13 mm per year between 1993 and 2002. ये इस साल में, this 10 years, every year on year the sea level was increasing by 2.13 mm per year. But the same sea level started increasing by 4.77 millimeters per year between 2014 and 2023. So it has more than doubled compared to the 1993-2002 decade to 2014 to 2023. Very, very important. Now, how that temperature rise? Now, why I have given you the average rise in temperatures and all that in the starting itself? Because that is the main problem or main cause of various other problems which we will keep on discussing in the future slides. Ocean mean sea level हो गया. Now, along with that, we have also said that the temperature of oceans are also increasing, right? So, marine heat waves have also increased. So, the global ocean experienced an average daily marine heat wave coverage of 32%, well above the previous record of 23% in 2016. So 2016 was also one of the hottest years, but 2023 has surpassed all that we have discussed. So 2023 made the previous record, whatever the global average marine heat wave, that was 23% of the total heat waves, that has increased to 32%. At the end of 2023, most of the global oceans which fell between 20 degrees south and 20 degrees north had been in heat wave conditions since early November without any stop. कोई break नहीं था, and all those oceans that fell are between this 20 degrees south and 20 degrees north of the globe. Just give me a second. Just give me a second. So okay, see, there are three major oceans that fall between, because I forgot to highlight here, so I was checking here. So there are three major oceans that fall between the 20 degrees south and 20 degree north of the globe latitudes, and those include Indian Ocean, Pacific, and Atlantic Ocean. So you can understand in all these oceans there have been heat wave conditions since early November, and the end of 2023 saw a broad band of severe and extreme heat waves. ये तो regular heat waves है. Extreme marine heat waves across the North Atlantic with temperatures 3 degrees centigrade above the average. So जो normal heat waves condition prevail करते हैं उस areas में जो average during that time they have surpassed 3 degrees centigrade. You can understand normally even with the average 0.2, 0.5 also marks a huge difference. There we are experiencing 3 degrees centigrade above average temperature. So the kind of extreme and severe heat marine heat waves we have experienced during those times. Okay. So कहीं पे भी आपको doubt आ रहे तो please keep on asking me. I'll be more than happy to look into the queries. Again with ocean acidification. See, the ocean absorbs around 1/4 of the annual emissions of the anthropogenic carbon dioxide. That is whatever the humans who are releasing to the atmosphere. Now this carbon dioxide, still a lot of flora on the planktons etc. on the oceans, they absorb lots of carbon dioxide. Now all this along with that small organisms react with the sea water and alters the carbonate chemistry, resulting in the decrease in pH. Whenever pH decreases, it would be acidic in nature. So that is leading to ocean acidification. This is the regular phenomena and it is inevitable. It happens naturally. But since the anthropogenic activities or human activities has increased this, okay, the amount of carbon dioxide that is being released into the atmosphere, that is leading to this ocean acidification at a much faster pace than it would have been earlier. So the 6th assessment report of the United Nations Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change, very recently, last year only, they have released this report. This IPCC, actually it's called UN's IPCC. They keep on coming up with reports associated with the climate change by keeping in loop all the countries and collecting the data from the respective countries and trying to study them in a much scientific manner. Okay, and what they have concluded that in their 6th assessment report that has been released recently last year, that there is a very high confidence that open ocean surface pH is now the lowest it has been for at least 26,000 years. So last 26,000 years may whatever might be the ocean surface pH, now it is the lowest. ये हम लोग बिल्कुल, they are saying that we are very much in very high confidence we are seeing this. And the current rates of pH change are unprecedented since at least that time. उस टाइम से देखे जाए तो one of the unprecedented changes in the surface pH of ocean that we are witnessing currently. So that is the pace at which the ocean acidification is happening. It is at a very much higher rate. And one of the other reasons for ocean acidification is जो भी we keep on using lots of chemicals, fertilizers and all that. So sometimes even the untreated waste is released into the water bodies. And where would they all go? This runoff water and everything, that all at the end of the day they'll get into the nearest seas and oceans. So they're carrying that acid laden chemicals and all that being dumped into the seas and oceans. That also is uh, increasing the pace of ocean acidification. Okay, now ये हो गया हमारा oceans के बारे में. We have seen about the temperature, heat waves, sea rise. We have also seen the acidification part as well. Now looking into the cryosphere, that is the ice part. The cryosphere comprises the frozen parts of earth that includes glaciers and ice sheets, sea ice, snow and permafrost, जो permanent frost में ही है. Okay, now sea ice. Antarctic sea ice extent declined to 1.79 million square kilometers on Feb 21, 2023, an all-time minimum for the satellite era 1979. That is, since 1979, we were able to capture the data related to the ice content or ice extent of ice spread on the Antarctic. Okay, Antarctic Sea. So here, so it seems that it has declined to 1.79 million square kilometers, one of the lowest, all-time minimum hai ye. Slightly less than the previous record low that was set in 2022. 2022, they felt that that was the lowest, all-time minimum. But 2023, it has surpassed. Now, reason? Global warming. Arctic sea ice extent reached its annual maximum of 14.62 million square kilometers on 6th March 2023. Again, it is the fifth lowest in the satellite record, though better when compared to the Antarctic. We have to know Arctic and Antarctic in both the poles, north and south pole. So this is what the current condition of sea ice is. Now, ice sheets. Now, what is the ice sheet? It is an expanse of ice originating on land that covers an area of more than 50,000 square kilometers. So, on land only, the ice would be covered. Okay, and there are two principal ice sheets in the present day climate system that is in the world, that is one in Greenland and the other is in Antarctica. Okay, ice sheet is something we consider it as ice sheet only when ice that is originating on land covers, because of the lowest temperatures, whatever the moisture that is there, that creates an ice sheet. Okay, if it is more than 50,000 square kilometers only, then they consider that as the ice sheets. And in the world there are two principal ice sheets, Greenland and Antarctica. And this being the warmest summer on record at the summit station of the Antarctica, 3.4 degrees warmer than 1991 to 2020 average and 1 degrees warmer than the previous record. So at the summit station at Antarctica, the temperatures are very high. On an average 3.4 degrees centigrade warmer than what it should have been, or warmer than the 1991-2020 average. Now, combining the two ice sheets that are present in both Greenland and Antarctica, the 7 highest melt years on record are all since 2010 only. And an average rates of mass loss increased from, जो ice sheet का loss हो रहा है, it was 105 gigatons per year from 1992 to 1996 to 372 gigatons per year from 2016 to 2020. Similar जो हमने पहले देखा था, the sea level rise, how it has increased. Similarly, the ice sheet melting is also on the same lines. It has almost more than doubled. Double से भी बहुत ज़्यादा, almost 3 times. It has become 3 times when compared to the losses that they have witnessed between 1992 to 1996 and 2016 to 2020. So this is the condition of ice sheets in this world. Glaciers. Now what are the glaciers? These glaciers are formed from snow only that has compacted to form ice. Then these glaciers deform and they flow downhill, forming glacial lakes. And in majority of the temperate places, these are one of the sources of water for the people who are residing in those places. In India, it is the Himalayan area where the glacial lakes are very common and they form the sole you know sources of water for the people residing there. Now, the annual mass balance of global set of reference glaciers for the hydrology of water equivalent that it is going down. This is normally the largest loss of ice on record. 1950 to 2023 में जितना भी whatever that they have recorded, the loss of the glaciers, this is the highest, driven by extremely negative mass balance that is between the glaciers and the glacial waters. In both Western North America and Europe, where the European Alps, snow-clad mountains, these European Alps are, and in Switzerland, glaciers lost around 10% of their remaining volume in the past 10 years. So European countries में कुछ countries ऐसे where they are completely, they have snow-clad mountains, etc. Like we have Himalayan ranges, there they have European Alps. Okay, so it seems that the glaciers there as well, they are extremely negative balance, that is more water, less glacier. So the same thing has been witnessed by the Switzerland as well, with them losing around 10% of whatever that is, whatever the glaciers that are left there. Okay, next comes the snow cover. The North American snow cover extend for May, because in the entire northern hemisphere, this is North America is the one where a good amount of snow cover you can find. So in North American snow cover extent for May 2023, it was the lowest on record at 7.47 million square kilometers, about 1.57 million square kilometers below the long-term average. LTA matlab they'll have a particular period, 40 years, 50 years in this case. Okay, on record they are saying here, but otherwise long-term average, what they do is they'll say that in every year it would not be the same annual in this case snowfall or snow cover. Similarly in the monsoons also we do the same thing. We have 50 years period. So in 50 years they'll see every year jitna bhi snowfall hua hai ya snow cover hai, they'll take an average of that, and this average would be the base. This average would be form the base. So for every year, what they do is they look at this base. Okay, this is the average in the last 50 years. How it is, it weighs against the current year's value, that is snowfall in this case. Okay, that is a long-term average. If you look at the long-term average, it seems that the snow cover in North America was the lowest with only 7.47 million square kilometers, which is less by 1.57 million square kilometers. And if you look at the overall northern hemisphere snow cover extent, it was 16.74 million square kilometers, the 8th lowest since 1967. This is the 8th time it is the lowest, which is 1.47 million square kilometers below the long-term average. We say long period average, LPA, for monsoons. Okay. ये हो गया हमारा क्रायोस्फीयर के बारे में, रिलेटेड टू आइस शीट्स, स्नो कैप्स एंड ऑल दैट स्नो everything. Now renewable energy. Now some good news from here. So in 2023, renewable capacity additions increased by almost 50% compared from the 2022 for a total of 510 gigawatts. Such growth marks the highest rate observed in the past 2 decades. So 2 decades mein whatever the addition of renewable capacity has been done, it is highest in the last 2 years only. And as the International Energy Agency also indicates, the increase demonstrates the potential to achieve the clean energy goal set up at COP28 to triple renewable energy capacity globally to reach 11,000 gigawatt by 2030. This is what the targets that the world has set for itself as part of the COP28 जो दुबई में हुआ था, to triple the renewable energy capacity to 11,000 gigawatts. And with the pace at which it is increasing, they are very much optimistic that there is a potential to achieve these targets that they have set. Now, because of all this, there is an increased frequency and intensity of extreme weather events like heat waves, which we have already noticed, floods, अभी देखेंगे क्या floods है, droughts, wildfires. Australia is one such continent that is facing the brunt of these wildfires. Tropical cyclones, major socioeconomic impacts on all inhabited continents wherever these tropical cyclones take place. Floods linked to extreme rainfall from Mediterranean cyclone, that is Daniel, affected Greece, Bulgaria, Turkey and Libya, with particularly heavy loss of life in Libya in September 2023. These are all the brunt of what the climate change brings in. Tropical cyclone Freddy in Feb and March 2023 was one of the world's longest lived tropical cyclones. मतलब generally tropical cyclones क्या है, once they come within 1 or 2 days they'll wind up, but this was one of the longest, affecting Madagascar, Mozambique and Malawi. Tropical cyclone Mocha in 2020 was one of the most intense cyclones ever observed in the Bay of Bengal, and this had triggered 1.7 million displacements across the subregions of Sri Lanka to Myanmar and through India and Bangladesh, which has affected many places like West Bengal, Odisha and कुछ north eastern states को भी affect किया था. Okay, that such was its impact. Intense cyclones this was. Now, climate financing challenges. What were the challenges that they felt for this climate financing? During 2021-22, the global financial flows related to climate issues, okay, reached nearly US dollars 1.3 trillion, almost doubling for the levels that have been seen in 2019-20. So climate issues, जो भी उसकी वजह, जो भी whatever the havoc that has been done, for that this much financial flows has been witnessed globally. Despite this increase, these tracked climate finance flows only account for about 1% of the global GDP. So whatever that we are pumping into the system to brace ourselves for the climatic change that is set, but still it is very, very less. And a significant financing shortfall also exists under a typical scenario to achieve a 1.5 degree centigrade pathway, that is by 2100. We are saying that जो average temperatures increase that should be 1.5 degrees, जो already 1.45 तक तो पहुँच ही गए हैं last September में ही. The annual investments in climate finance must increase by more than 6-fold, reaching nearly US dollars 9 trillion by 2030 and an additional US dollars 10 trillion by 2050 in order to brace ourselves, and also in order to bring down the temperature, the kind of infrastructure that humankind has to build so that the average increase in temperature can be curbed to only 1.5 degrees centigrade. The climate finance, whatever that we are currently investing, that should increase by more than 6-fold. And how much it should be? It should be close to 9 trillion US dollars by 2030 plus or additional 10 trillion US dollars by 2050. So this is what the finance that is required if we want to keep our earth cool. Adapting financing remains inadequate, although adaptation is, see, when we talk about climate change, there are two things that we have to do, that is a correction measure. So one, adaptation, and two, mitigation. Adaptation is something where already the whatever changes that have happened, now we have to plan in such a way that we have to adapt to that particular condition, like जो temperature rise हुआ है हो गया है. So for that, how we'll adapt ourselves? By building the green kind of buildings, that is with lot of green spaces, and by increasing the forest cover, etc. Mitigation, so whatever the climate changes that are in pipeline, we have to reduce that impact by taking up mitigation measures. Again, that would include this infrastructural development or whatever the new projects that we are taking, that should be completely environment friendly, changing our habits, afforestation, all these that one can be done. So whatever this adaptation finance, it has reached a record high of 63 billion US dollars during 2021-22. The global adapting financing gap is widening, but still it's not sufficient. वो भी हमें sufficient नहीं हो रहा है. And how much it is less? Falling far short of the estimated $212 billion per year needed by developing countries alone until 2030. हमारा requirement, our requirement is 212 billion US dollars per year if we want to get adapted to whatever the climate change that has already set in. But अभी कितना है पर 2021-22 का हमने देखा है तो it's just a mere 63 billion US dollars. Very, very important. So there is a huge gap between what that is being provided and what that is required in finance. Okay. Now, other than this, there are short-term climate drivers that are also affecting these changes, that include a prolonged period of La Nina from mid-2020 to early 2023 gave way to El Nino conditions, which were well established by September 2023, contributing to the observed rise in global mean sea surface temperatures during 2023. Now, what is this La Nina and El Nino? We have been hearing a lot these days. See, when we talk about La Nina, in Spanish it means little girl. La Nina in Spanish, little girl. Few important points I'll highlight here. I'll not take much of your time. Now, these both El Nino and La Nina conditions are climate patterns that occur especially in the Pacific Ocean. But this effect will have a profound effect on the entire world. Okay, La Nina is the one where the trade winds are stronger than usual, as you can see here. That is, the movement of winds is stronger. That pushes more warm water towards Asia. This causes cold, nutrient-rich water to rise in the west coast of America, leading to reduction in temperatures. And since this warm air that is being pushed towards Asia, the more warmer air, that leads to very good monsoons for Asia. Because especially India and other few countries in the Asia, they have monsoon pattern. Okay, so summer mein jo whatever the clouds that form because of the evaporation etc., they need some warmer airs to start raining. So that will happen. So this is how the La Nina phase affects not only the countries which are close to Pacific Ocean but the entire world. Now coming to El Nino. In El Nino means in Spanish only it is little boy, completely opposite to the La Nina. Now in this case, the trade winds that actually which blow from east to west along the equator, they become weaker. Now what will happen? This will force the warm water that generally moves towards Asia, as you can see here. Yes, see, generally they move towards Asia, but here now they will be moving towards US, Peru and other countries, and this leads to not Peru but the America and Canada, which leads to very warmer conditions in those areas. And already यहाँ तो warmth है ही Asian countries में, that spikes, that temperature spikes, leading to much warmer conditions than they generally have. And generally these patterns, they last for about 9 to 12 months. But sometimes it can last till years also. As you can see here, this was set in La Nina condition. It was set in mid-2020 and it was till 2023 it has happened, and slowly it gave way to El Nino conditions. So though they say that this condition will stay for 9 to 12 months, but it can increase and last for years also. And this generally pattern, this occurs between normal रहता है, but this pattern generally occurs once in 2 to 7 years. The El Nino and the La Nina conditions, leading to colder and warmer and colder conditions respectively. Okay, I know थोड़ा सा heavy है. Will, if time permits, I'll definitely have an exclusive class on this El Nino and La Nina conditions, putting up all the photographs, etc. That would ease out your doubts. But for timely, this is what it is. Okay. Now, what are the climate change challenges? The challenges that are being posed by this climate change. With this, we'll be winding the report. Food insecurity, severe weather events including floods, droughts, storms result in significant losses in crop and livestock production, worsening global food insecurity, which we are already facing. And the number of people experiencing acute food insecurity more than doubled from 149 million before COVID-19 pandemic to 333 million in 2023 as per this report. Okay, so जो ऑलरेडी पैंडमिक का एक इफेक्ट हो गया, उसके ऊपर से दिस क्लाइमेट चेंज हैज सेट इन लॉट ऑफ चेंजेस लीडिंग टू फूड इनसिक्योरिटी, एंड दिस क्राइसिस रिप्रेजेंट्स द लार्जेस्ट फूड इनसिक्योरिटी इवेंट इन मॉडर्न हिस्ट्री, highlighting the profound impact of climate related occurrences on food availability as well as accessibility. Even India has faced this last year because of this El Nino conditions. The warmth has set in very early in Feb itself. So majority the wheat production had gone down because of that. Because जो dough forming stage होता है, the grain forming के बाद one of the stages in grain formation is dough formation stage. During that time it should have relatively colder temperatures, otherwise it would not be able to form properly. तो seed क्या है, वो shrink हो जाता है size. So in this case what happened, because of early setting of this warmth, the seed setting was not proper. The grain formation was, I shouldn't say seed setting, but grain formation was not proper, leading to a little bit decreased production of wheat. After that, ICR and the respective their constituent institutes, they have come up with the early sowing varieties of wheat so that they can escape this heat period. But that's corrective measures that we have come up with, but otherwise it has impacted. Another is population displacement. Obviously, when these floods occur, droughts occur, the major problem or the major issue with the people, they'll not be able to have proper livelihood, no proper food. That will lead to displacements. So displacements in regions like Syria, Lebanon, Jordan, Iraq, Egypt, Somalia and Pakistan. Pakistan has faced one of their worst rains last year, floods, where communities were already vulnerable due to conflict or prior climate related events, and this, it has increased that impact. Already they are facing in Syria, Lebanon, etc. They are already facing conflict, internal conflicts. And over on top of that, climate change has brought droughts and floods. Now how you can understand the kind of situation that they might be going through. These displacements strain resources and escalate social tensions, contributing to instability in the affected areas. Obviously that would happen. And displaced populations residing in temporary shelters are particularly susceptible to disease outbreaks, further burdening healthcare systems already dealing with the consequences of the climate related disasters. Already वहाँ floods चल रहे, droughts चल रहे हैं, and then these people taking shelter in the temporary shelters in crowded conditions, in very inhumane, unhygienic conditions that will lead to disease outbreak. Now already healthcare system बिल्कुल burdened है. On top of that, this, so it would be very difficult to manage. Not only these two, this all will lead to economic losses, inequality in related to progress of various SDGs, global economic impact. So this food insecurity, population displacement, all this will lead to economic losses. Okay, once economic losses, that will have a very negative impact on the global economy. Now that will have an inequality in related to the progress of various SDGs. Now since all this, there are 17 SDGs. उन SDGs के working पे progress पे affect करेगा. So that is what they have highlighted, that it's not very as simple as we see. You know, ऐसा नहीं कि एक straight एक line में हम लोग explain कर सकते हैं. It is interlinked, completely interconnected with each other. एक जगह पे, like a chain reaction, एक जगह पे कुछ होता है तो slowly that will impact the other, and while it moves along the chain, by the time it reaches the final link, the impact would be much higher that we can't imagine. So this is what currently the climate, global climate change, that is bringing to us, and it's all in our hands how we'll solve this, resolve this. That each individual, they have to contribute. At the same time, government also should look into various anticipate, and accordingly policies should be made. Moving on to the next section, that is answers to the homework questions. Before that, this is all from my end related to the report. Now I would like to request you all, if you have any queries, questions, comments on today's session, or any suggestions, I'll be more than happy to look into them. Now coming to the answers from the homework questions of day before yesterday. What is the India's total production of Sri Anna for the year 2022-23? This we have discussed in class. It is 17.32 million tons, wherein Rajasthan is the one that contributed a lot to this. After Rajasthan, it is UP, and third is Karnataka. India accounts for 50% of the total Sri Anna production of the world. It's not only 20%. India accounts for 20% of the world's total Sri Anna production. Moving on to our today's homework questions. State of the Global Climate Report 2023 is released by whom? And the global mean near surface temperature in 2023 was 1.45 degrees plus or minus 0.12 degrees above the 1850-1900 average. Is this true or false? Thank you very much once again. Yes, now the forum is open for your queries, questions, and please don't forget to like this session and share this session with your friends as well. And please do subscribe to our YouTube channel and Telegram channel and app, so that whatever sessions that we are conducting at EduTerrain, you'll be getting a notification of the same on timely basis, and also you won't miss out on any important information or content that is required for your exam preparation. We keep on updating them on the Telegram as well, along with the courses. Yes, I'll wait for a couple of more seconds. I know it's again the lengthiest one. 8:30 ko start hua tha, and it's close to 9:25, but still all the important points associated with the report we have covered. This would be important, as I've said, for your MCQs as well as your descriptive part as well. So thank you very much once again. Have a great day ahead. Have a great weekend ahead. Please take very good care of yourself. Weather is changing a lot, and heat waves, even IMD has been predicting heat waves in many parts of our country. So from wherever you are, please take very good care of yourself. Have lots and lots of water. Rather than the regular water, you can have some lemon water or buttermilk. Whenever you go out, cover yourself properly, that is with caps or hats or umbrellas, so that you won't that heat wave doesn't affect you. Yes, take care. Bye bye.